Hello, good morning to North America and Canada, and welcome from wherever in the world you are at this moment. We have quite an international panel here, and we'll say hello to Maria and Mandy in just a minute or two. But before we get going, for those people that don't know me, I'm Terry Chiplin. I'm the event director for the US Trail Running Conference, which for those of you that don't know this as well, if it's your first time on here, it's the premier annual event for trail running professionals, and we connect race directors, brands, and industry leaders. And I can't believe it's like just under 2 months to go to the conference. It's like, whoa! I can't. It's like, well, this is come by too quick. I kind of feel like I want to put the brakes on, but I'm sure everything will be just fine. So Mandy and Maria are both going to be at the conference. So for those of you listening in, we look forward to seeing both Mandy and Maria at the conference. And Maria will also have her co-owner and partner, Mary Arnold, with her too as well. So without further ado, today's session is all about project managing tools. And so keeping our focus on technology and how technology can help race directors become more efficient, profitable, and all of the above. Then we're going to be talking this evening to Maria and Mandy, who are going to share some information and tips and inside information regarding project management. So, however, before we do anything else, I'm going to, as usual, play our intro video for our presenting sponsor, Marathon Printing. So I'll do that without further ado, and just encourage you to get in contact with them if there's anything that they can do to help you in terms of providing printing or services or products for your race. So here we go.
Marathon Printing Inc. is the presenting sponsor for the RD Masterclass webinar series and for the US Trail Running Conference. It's a family-owned business that specializes in producing custom printed items for endurance sports. Race bibs are their most popular item, either custom printed or stock bibs. Marathon Printing also supplies vital accessories for race directors like pins, bags, and pennant flags, as well as postcards, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, and labels. They've also produced and helped us with the lanyards for the conference for a number of years now. They have been a loyal supporter of the US Trail Running Conference since 2015 and are also an event standard partner for our event partner, American Trail Running Association. We are very grateful to Ryan Zirk and Anthony Foster and the team at Marathon Printing for their support of this webinar series. For more details or a quote, visit Marathon Printing or email sales@marathononline.com or call 800-255-4120.
Okay, thank you everybody for your attention for that. And Marathon Printing and Ryan and Anthony and the team do an amazing job for races, and so we really encourage you to get in contact with them if they can help you at all. So let's do short introductions next. So Mandy, would you like to kick off and just let people know who you are and what it is that you do and where you're calling in from?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me again. So as Terry said, I'm Mandy Mullen, and I am in Windsor, so up by Fort Collins in northern Colorado. So I have the Run Windsor race series. You might have seen me listed as Miles Beyond. We're kind of in the middle of still a little bit of a rebrand. We have a couple of different race series that are branching out beyond Run Windsor, but I'm mostly known as Run Windsor. So we do 12 running events a year, all the way from local community 5K up to now we have 5 ultra distance events. Most of them are road. We have a couple that run through single track trail, US Forest Service areas, but a lot of our ultras are more backyard style ultra, farmland trail, if you call it. And I have, just so you know how my organization is structured, I do this more than full time. Lots of hours that go into it. You all understand that. And then I have one full-time employee, a part-time employee, two consistent independent contractors, and then of course we rely on a lot of volunteers every weekend. And I do my timing in-house. My husband actually is my timer. We own our own software or timing equipment. And our participant numbers, every race, smallest race is about 200 for a small little ultra that we do, all the way up to about 1,500 people for, the big 5K turkey trots, and then community-based, 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon. All events in one day are about 800 participants.
Cool. Wonderful. Thank you, Mandy. And it's great to have you back on here again. Really appreciate you making the time to share your knowledge and expertise with us. Okay, Maria, if you could do the same thing, if you could let people know obviously who you are, but where you're calling in from and what it is that you do.
Thanks, Terry. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria, and I am from PSARC. PSARC for Sports. We do communication strategy for racing, both trail and road. And I'm calling in from Spain, actually, so I'm closer to Terry on this side of the world, but normally I'm based in Austin, Texas. And my history with running, I've been working in run marketing for the past 5 years. And previously, in the 15 years, I've been doing communications, marketing for all sorts of other industries, and really finally converged with running over the past 5 years. And so with Spark, we really specialize not on just telling stories, but on really giving strategy and direction to communications across racing. So not just runners, but really integrating communications with sponsors, volunteers, and just other stakeholders that are really important to the running ecosystem. So that's what we'll talk about a little bit today.
Cool, wonderful, thank you. The running ecosystem, I love that kind of expression. It's there's a big wide world out there. Okay, shall I add to stage your presentation or you?
Yes, let's do it if you can add it, Terry. Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Hopefully everybody can see. So again, I'm Maria Vargas. I'm one of the co-founders of Spark. My co-founder, Mary Arnold, I think is in the audience somewhere in the internet void. And today we really just wanted to talk about what is marketing strategy, because I think it's a term that, especially in running, we think of, okay, how do we promote our race to runners? How do we get race participants registered? So in addition to that, the story really started when my colleague Mary and I were seeing how marketing is difficult, especially if you're a solo RD who's trying to juggle a million things, logistics, permits, getting race registrations, talking to volunteers. It's a lot to coordinate. So what we designed is essentially a framework that helps communications become just a more smooth operation and help race directors just create stable communications year round. That way it's not the moment where we're all facing registration and permitting and everything kind of culminating at once. So we've designed a system that really makes it easy for race directors to have a flow of communications across all stakeholders. So the analogy that we like to use is, would you ever show up to a marathon start line without training? Probably not, right? So just like that, it's important for us to have a plan and a strategy when it comes to marketing. And marketing is all encompassing in communications. So when we say marketing, it's not just advertising and promotion. It's really the communication stream to all the different participants and stakeholders. So just like we need a training plan for a marathon, we need a training plan to get us to the start line even of our race and beyond. So today we're going to talk about what that plan is. So just like we do hills and speed works and long runs, we developed a marketing framework that helps race directors be successful, not just in selling the races, but in making sure sponsors and other stakeholders are also really happy. So first, if we talk about stakeholders, so when we talk about communications, this is the step one, is figuring out who we're going to talk with. And we have several categories of stakeholders that we like to talk about at Spark. So a lot of them are revenue generating. So of course we have the runners, we have sponsors, we have vendors, we have locally invested groups like neighborhoods, cities, authorities, people that, if your city doesn't grant you your permit, we don't have a race. So we want to make sure that everybody is kept happy and that we have good communications with everyone. And then there's also supporters, right? Spectators are a really big part of a lot of our races. So are crews, groups of people that you need to have streams of communication and ensure they're happy, because if one of these groups isn't happy, then we have a problem with our race, don't we? So once we decide who the stakeholders are and who we're going to communicate with, it's important to decide, okay, what stage? When are we going to talk to these people, right? We can't just bombard them all in one period of time. So the way that we look at it is we design different stages. So we have the off season, which a lot of races struggle, right? Because what are you supposed to say when you don't have a race that you're trying to sell or something that you're communicating with? So how can we plan for these stages? What does the build up to your event look like? How do you get people excited so that when registration opens, people rush to sign up? And once they're signed up, how do you keep them engaged, right? How do you keep them active, learning about your sponsors, helping them prepare for a tough race, making sure they book their accommodations? There's a lot of information that has to be communicated with, and not just the runners, but spectators too, crews, other groups. And then we have, of course, our main event, but it doesn't end there. Then we have all the post-event comms that we have to deal with, right? So a lot of you are probably shaking your heads like, yes, I know this is a lot of communications, and it's important that we create a plan for it. So one of the words that we hear a lot in marketing is campaigns, right? What is a campaign? A lot of times it's creative things, creative ways to drive registrations. But really what we talk about when campaigns, it's when we decide who we've talked to, when we're going to say it, we need to design the actual campaign. So a lot of times it's registration drivers, it's training tip campaigns, it's volunteer appreciation, sponsor spotlights. We've all had those moments when we have a sponsor and we haven't delivered on their social post or their email. So we know how important it is to have that plan and to be able to even offer your sponsors a higher level of service, just by having a plan and not sitting saying like, oh, I'm going to put it out this week. There's ways you can integrate them into the training periods. For example, we've had clients before where take Noon or GOO and really embed them into the training cycles so that runners can see them frequently. So all of these things, it's mental calories. It takes a lot of energy to design these campaigns. And so what we help people do is we help set up the plan so that it takes less mental calories and effort to design the campaigns and the messages that you're going to share with your stakeholders. And the last piece is how. How are we going to share this, right? We know that social media is becoming an increasingly saturated space, so we have to be careful on what messages we're going to share there. The same with email, right? We know a lot of people aren't reading their email. How are we communicating with people? Is it texting? Is it social? So figuring out what is the best way to get that particular message across to your runners or spectators or whoever the stakeholder is. So really marketing, it does get down to the nitty-gritty point of saying, okay, what is the best way to get this particular message across to this particular group of people? And so when we develop the campaigns and the plans, it's really important to say, okay, we'll reserve this for a text or an email blast or a social media post. And that way you can start seeing that your communications is going to be a little bit more spread out, a little bit more sustainable, and really reaching people where they are. All right. So hopefully you're bearing with me here. This might look familiar to you. It looks like a spreadsheet, right? So this is one of our dashboards that we use at Spark. We have a technology that we use that encompasses all of the things we just talked about. So it encompasses the stakeholders, the stages, the campaigns, and the messages, and the media outlets. And it's kind of like a dynamic dashboard. So this is something that you can replicate for the next year. You can say, okay, duplicate this calendar for 2026, and it's done. Basically takes the brain work out of it. But as you can see, I can try and zoom in here. We have the stage, right? So this is the preparedness stage. This will change if it's for registration or post-event. This is when the post would be published, the campaign name, the CTA. This one is important because it's really your call to action. Every post that you put out, whether it's an email or social, should have some sort of call to action. And it tells us what stakeholder it is. So, if you're putting out communications to volunteers or to runners or to sponsors, that you know which audience you're talking with. And the channel, right? So we talked social media. Is it email? Is it just going on Facebook? Is it just going on Instagram? Maybe you have Facebook groups that you communicate across. And of course, you have your image and your copy. So this is kind of the last step of creating your message, right? You need to write the social post or write the email blast. Maybe it's someone like Mandy who has a contractor who maybe is in charge of writing the posts. So this is really helpful, especially whether you're a single RD managing this yourself, or if you have other contractors in the mix. It's easy for everybody to see what's happening and what messages are going out and when. And so the clients that we've worked with are typically selling out about 7 to 12 weeks, but like previous while using our system. So for example, one race last year sold out 10 weeks in advance. It was the fastest they've ever sold out. And this year we're on track to sell out 12 weeks in advance. So it really shows that just having a system, having a plan in place, and allowing for transparency and everybody to see the information that's going out has been really beneficial for people. So Terry, let me know how we are on time. I'm happy to share just like a logging into the system if that's helpful.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that, Maria.
Okay.
That would be a fabulous idea. Thank you.
Great. I'm going to stop sharing this one to open up the next one.
Okay.
1 second.
The wonder of technology.
All right, I'm going to try and screen share again.
And thanks to everybody out there as well that I put a note on the comments that if anybody has any questions on the way through, then feel free to add something in the comments. Okay, so I can add to stage now.
All right, here we go. All right, so this is our dashboard. This is our client, Matt, who we're working with, and I asked him if I could show this. He said yes. So this is a little world view. So this is one of our clients. He has about 5 or 6 races, trail races, that he produces each year. So this this calendar view shows all the races. So it's all the communications that are going out. And so here you can see the project name, that's the race. So if you have like 6 or 8 races, it's all going to show on one calendar view, which is super helpful. You can just wake up in the morning and say, okay, what's going out today? What emails are we sending? What's scheduled? Things like that. This little view, this shows us what posts are in the mix. So here you can say, oh, like there's nothing on the 19th or 20th of September. Let's schedule a post there. So it really gives you a bird's eye view of what communications are going out where and when, and to see if you have any gaps. So a lot of the clients, when we start working with them, they have very clear gaps to where they don't send out any communications in their off season. So that's one of the things that this addresses is, okay, where are your gaps? Where can we include your sponsors more? Things like that. So it makes it easy to see where there's space to move things around in your communications. I'm going to click into this one. So these are the races. So this dashboard, it helps us, again, it shows the stage of the communication that's going out. But the cool thing here is you see different icons on the top. So for example, the photo one, these are all pending social media or email posts that our client needs to add photos to. And so if he has a contractor, the contractor will go in here, or the client, and they'll upload the image that they are planning to send out into that post. They'll go over to the pen icon, they'll add in the copy for the post, whether it's them or the contractor. And then there's checks and balances. So they'll review the post. If it looks good to them, they approve it. And then it gets sent out to the person who is going to actually post it. And the cool thing is, once you actually post the whether it's an email or social media, you can add the link and the system will save it. And so you can generate reports. For example, if you have Noon or Goo as a sponsor and they want to see all of the posts that they were mentioned in, you can do that. You can pull a report and at the end of the year after the race say, hey, look, we sent out all of these posts that you were featured in. Here are the links. So that's really cool to be able to give sponsors and partners that information. And for you, if you have contractors, again, you can check like, was this post actually scheduled? Did it actually go out? And so at the end of the planning cycle, you can see also how much money did we spend, right? Did we spend, I don't know, 80% of our marketing budget on registration and zero in our preparedness. So again, like as we talked about with the stages, you can also associate budgets. And so if you had ad spend, you can add, your communications from ad spend here, and you can easily see at what periods of time you're spending the most money. And that just gives you additional visibility to see where your money is going if you have a marketing budget for those kinds of things. And it just makes it easy for you to see who you're communicating with and just keep on top of your comms for the whole year, and not just in the scramble season when we're all trying to get emails out. So hopefully that gives a better understanding of the system, at least that we use for Spark. And yeah, our clients are using this, whether they have one race or 5 or 6 races. We build out calendars for each race, and then they can see a holistic view of all of their communications at any given point.
Wow.
So this sums it up, Terry. I don't know if we want to do a Q&A or what you were thinking.
Fabulous. Well, we have no questions on the chat at the moment. So yeah, one thing I was thinking though, Maria, was that as you said back at the beginning, that most race directors are not marketing experts, and so it tends to be something that we kind of fall into having to do because it's expected of somebody within that role. But what I love, and hopefully I think you did a good job of putting this across, is that you love doing this. And this is this is your passion, So in the same way that the race directors love to run and then start putting races on, then you can help to lift that load off them. So yeah, thank you so much. That's a really, really informative presentation. Really appreciate it. Okay, well, if anybody has any questions for Maria, then we can always come back to that, because Maria's going to be holding on with us while Mandy does her presentation. So thank you so much, Mandy. It's your turn now. I know we didn't set this up already, but did you want to share a screen as well?
Yeah, I might share my screen. I didn't put any presentation together. I just thought I would kind of share the layout so I could walk you guys through.
Yeah. Oh, Mandy, sorry, before we get going. So Jonathan, good to see you out there. Hope you're doing well. So Jonathan says, is Spark creating the content or just providing a guide? So great question, Jonathan, and I'm sure Maria can answer that.
Sure. Do you want me to answer now, Terry?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Great. Hi, Jonathan. That's a great question. So we offer all sorts of services, but we actually help create up to certain levels of the content. So we, for example, help create all of the campaigns all the way up to the call to action level. And then sometimes the client has their own copywriter, or we can do the copywriting, but we can design the plan. And it's super easy. It's something that we've done multiple times already with different clients this summer. So we essentially help set you up with all the information that you saw in the dashboards. We can help create. So we don't so what we want to do is just give people the chance to share more about their race, and then we go in and, using our knowledge, we design the strategy for you, and then you have access to the dashboard. And then,
Okay.
you know, you can add your own photos or copy and things like that, or we can help you do that too. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, I think it did. You said thank
Great.
you, so that works. Okay, Mandy, bless you. Apologies for the slight hold up there. Yeah, feel free to, if you did want to share a screen so you can run people through your platform, and whichever is up to you.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think I might have talked about this in another webinar, touched on it a little bit when we were talking about technology, but we were in the middle of having kind of a more custom app created for us, and the backend platform that they were using went away. So we're kind of starting over from scratch, but either way, I think the takeaway there is that it doesn't matter what you use, whether you're using Google Spreadsheets or a project management tool. I'm using Monday.com, which a lot of you have heard of. So there are a lot of different products out there in the market. You can spend no money, you know, and use Google Spreadsheets. That works well for some race directors and organizers who are doing, you know, 1 or 2 events. I choose using Monday. I'm more familiar with it, and it's something that has helped me more because I have so many different projects and races going on. So that's kind of just what I wanted to share. So I think I didn't want anyone to get too hung up on exactly how. I'm not going to show you how to use Monday.com. It's more just an overreaching idea of the different topics that you know that you're operating in. And I think for race directors, whether you're doing 1 race or 15 or 30 a year, for a lot of us, it's all kind of jumbled in our head. And I think the key to success in all of it is getting it put down on paper, not just for your daily operations, but for succession, right? So if you decide you want to sell it, or if you're a nonprofit and you have a new director come in that's going to be operating your fundraising race, it's just important to be able to have it documented, what works well, what doesn't work well, standard operating procedures. I'll share just the level of importance for this too. We put on a race this past weekend, and I co-directed it with another race director who does things completely different than me. Anti-spreadsheets, really coming up with a plan on certain levels. And between all of you and I, it did not go well. For our participants, it was flawless. It was pretty flawless. It went really well. But on the back end of even just race day execution, there were certain things that just didn't go well. And a lot of them can be tied back to not operationally being prepared for some of the things that were headed our way. So I'm sure you've all been in that realm before of something you forgot, like Maria, to your point, at the last minute scrambling. I'm guilty of it too, where it's 91 days before a race. And if I didn't put the apply for your permit 90 days before and actually get that going 30 days before, all of a sudden you're here scrambling with 1 day to go. So this tool has really helped me to get on track with timelines and deadlines. So that's my little TED talk of why this is important, I guess, no matter what software you're using. But I'll show you let's see here, what we have got going on. So I hope you can all see my screen there. So again, I'm working in Monday here. It's not the only software or tool that we use. We also utilize Google Spreadsheets, and that's more for data collection and file collection, right? So there might be some things in here that I actually need to keep in Google Spreadsheets. And I'll give you that example too. So this isn't a catch-all for everything that we have. PDFs of saved permits and receipts. I still like to utilize Google folders and spreadsheets every once in a while, but this is more kind of our task orientation. So you'll see on the left here, these are all of the races that we have, which is why we need to be organized. The one thing I like about this template is I've created a race template, which I'll show you first. And so this is just going to be the basic template of everything that needs to happen in my race. And I've got standard operating procedures linked into each task so that if I do assign it to somebody and they don't know what I'm talking about or how to do that, they're going to click into that SOP. It's going to show them a document of what needs to happen, what are the links to the tools that you need to perform this task, and kind of a general timeline of when this needs to be done in relation to the race. So anytime I add a new race, which seems to be frequent, I simply just duplicate this template and then customize it for that specific race. So the one I was going to show you that we're currently working in, the Windsor Marathon, is about a month out, and I'll open some of these sub items, but in general, these are the tasks that I operate within. So you'll see volunteer management, materials and swag, race planning, details, race websites, course details, permits, approvals, event vendors, race packets, marketing, finances, and a post-race process. So within there, we've tried not to dig too deep into the weeds with this because you can go really, really far. So finding a happy medium that works best for you and your team, right? You might have some processes that you really need to detail out, others that have subsequent items that need to happen that are a little easier for your team without fully assigning them in here. But what I've found really helpful in here is really just being able to go in, assign the task to my team, give them the tools that they need, assigning a due date, and just communicating internally on where we're at with all the projects. So some of these have, little updates. So as Ellie was placing our retail order, she, was able to comment in this retail for sale assignment that I gave her and leave me a comment. It kicked up to my email. I was able to ask it or answer it for her. She marked it done. So a lot of these are just deadline checkers to make sure that we're staying on top of everything that we're doing. What I like about this as well, and I wonder if I can show you somewhere, is you can link anything you want. So in some of these, we're linking out to a Google spreadsheet. Other times here, I'm linking out to our Strava page, which is going to have the routes for all of the marathons. So if I'm in the middle of a meeting and Windsor PD wants to know what are your routes, and I'm operating in this system because I know it shows me everything about my race, it's easy for me to go to course details, click over here and click on the link that takes me right to my marathon Strava routes. There's a lot of different interactions in here with different spreadsheets that we have going on. I was going to show you. I have videos as well, and those are probably just all living in the SOPs. Permits, approvals, all of that good stuff. And then again, within each of these tasks, you can go in and outline details, links to where they need to get their information. So it's pretty cut and dry. Another way that I've used Monday is to plan out the entire year, kind of big picture. So outside of the race tasks, this kind of gives us like a general highlight of the entire year. So all of everything is linked back to those individual spreadsheets. So if I'm looking at a big picture of my race dates, our locations, links to locations, what distances do we have? Again, linking out who's the nonprofit of that race, what's the race website, right? This is like really helpful for my team to use instead of always having to go into their favorites. They've got a link directly to the drive and to the routes. So a lot of different activities happen on the back end here. What races is my radio crew coming to? What are the details from all of our meetings there? Where are we at with our shirt and bib orders? What material did we order for all of those shirts? And so this is a nice feature to have, whether you're using spreadsheets or not. When I have my meeting with Head Sweats every month, we're able to kind of dive down into this as a reminder of, did we order it? When did we order it? What did we order? What was the quantity that we ordered? So again, just kind of big picture and all the different categories that we're needing to think about. This is where we track our inventory for all of the merch that we have. When did we last take the inventory of it? What extra bibs do we have on hand in case we run out at some race? Our beverage donations, how much are we ordering? When are we ordering them? Where are they delivering it to? So it's a lot of info. It's probably a little overwhelming, and I'm sure it's nothing outside of what you guys are all doing right now in tracking. I've just found that getting it organized in some sort of a project management spreadsheet that can allow you to assign tasks and get what's on your mind to your staff, your volunteers, your independent contractors without a million meetings a week has been really a time saver for me.
Brilliant, Mandy. Thank you so much. I think I was impressed with this the last time you shared some of it. I mean, I think you're just an incredibly detailed person, and it's again that kind of really shows through. It's amazing that you've gone through, well, initially trying to set up your own app and then having to kind of rethink again because of the changes there. and kind of pivot on the fly, and then find Monday, and then adapt that or whatever you need to do to make it work for you. Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing to see how much easier, in many ways, it can make the process easier for and more organized for people. So Mary's got a question here. So I'll put this up on the screen here for us so everybody can see it as well. Does Monday integrate with your inventory software? I can see that being super handy for folks who have retail components of their business. So that's a great question, Mary.
Yeah, that's a great question, Mary. I haven't looked into that yet. I'm sure that it does. There are so many integrations within the back end of it that we haven't tapped into quite yet. So just for a timeline perspective, we had this all built out in Lark, and it was very customizable, so much so that I was going to share it with others that would just plug and play into theirs. So it's been really probably just the last couple of months that we've dug back into Monday to get it functioning for our team. And right now we're kind of doing the bare minimum just to really hit deadlines and tasks. But there are so many integrations with other brands within Monday that I would definitely look at for you. We do a lot of retail as well, and I should not be doing it, but we're still like hand counting after each race and putting it in the spreadsheet. And then even on sales on race day, we're not in like squares what we're using. We're not accurately tracking sizes. We're just doing counts. So that is a goal of mine for 2026, is to get our inventory under control where we're actually tracking it through a software and not hand counting. Now, I don't have a ton of retail that we do. Someone like Hard Rock, like I was at Hard Rock, Dale, if you're listening, and they have a ton of inventory. And so if you had that much retail you're selling, I would definitely recommend integrating it. For me, it's like hoodies, hats, and shirts that and socks that kind of just rotate throughout the year. So it's not an overwhelming piece for me on that end. The inventory management, as far as my swag goes, that my runners get, what I do love about that is that I use Run Sign Up. And so and to me, that feels like the most critical inventory piece, I guess, is that Run Sign Up does a great job, obviously, of tracking how many shirts I've given away. We can compare that to what we ordered, and that gives us a really accurate track of what we have available for next year, whether we want to use those shirts as an optional giveaway for next year, or we want to add them as a giveaway or as an add-on item. So that's kind of my inventory tracking as far as that goes.
Yeah. Great question, Mary. Thank you. I think also that could be really helpful for some races that have sponsors that donate product, and so the inventory might be in their their hands rather than your hands to some extent, and so yeah, that could be a really useful addition. So Mary, thank you for the question. Actually, yeah. Oh, she has a follow-up question. Okay, I'll just switch that. Can you talk a little bit about how you got your team on board with using the platform? Was actually something I was thinking as well. Mary, you're aligned here. Can you share a little bit on that, Mandy?
It doesn't take a lot of convincing. I've had a few people, like the race director that I co-directed with last weekend, that just does things very differently, and so that's hard to get someone out of that routine. But I think for my team, we have so many races that I get the feeling that they know we need something. So I don't think it takes a lot of convincing. I think that they probably look at the fact that we have at least one race a month, and sometimes we have 3 in a month, like this month, that it's kind of just a no-brainer. Like they know, they just know we need something that they can go and they can check, what did she want me to do? How do I do it? Where do I find that information? And like I said, it doesn't have to be Monday in a paid software. It could be as simple as a spreadsheet. Google Spreadsheets have come a long way, where you can create the layout there with the task assignment and check boxes and drop downs for who's in charge of doing what, and sort it by date. So really, I think as far as the leader of an organization, there have to be some non-negotiables. And so for me personally, if I had a team member that was like, absolutely not, I don't want to use the software. I don't want to log in. I just want you to tell me what to do. I'd probably just say that's not a good fit. Because at the end of the day, you're only as strong of a leader as everyone else on your team is. And you have to have everyone subscribe to the tools that are going to set you up for success. Because even with something like this, some things are going to get forgotten, some balls are going to get dropped. And this is just a way to keep us all on check with what everyone's doing.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Great question, Mary. Okay, we've got another question here. Really a comment. So, Chris, nice to see you out there. Hope you're doing well. Mary, if it doesn't directly, integration tools like Zapier and Make are good places to look. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. So thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. And then we've got a tag on here from Josh Reed. And Josh, hope you're doing well. Thank you for being out there. I have found it very useful onboarding RDs by creating timelines, fixed and scalable in Excel, and then importing them as templates. So yeah, that's yeah. Do you have any insights or experience with that? And Josh has added on here as well.
As far as the templates go and integrating them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are actually relationships within Monday specifically that are time-based relationships. So if, for example, I gave the example of a permit and a liquor license. All the liquor licenses that I deal with, I have to submit 90 days ahead. So my liquor license date is automatically assigned. It's assigned for 100 days ahead, but not the due date, like the absolute drop dead due date is 90 days before the race. And so when you assign those tasks into the template, you can say always this task needs to happen 120, 100 days, however many days before the race date. So your race date is a set date and something that you do a marker off of, and you can assign tasks that have a relationship with that date. You can also create relationships in there. So let's just say my graphic designer, Michelle, is assigned to design the race bibs. And once she hits complete on the design of the race bibs, it's going to automatically kick it over to Ellie to order the race bibs. And remember, Michelle's date was put in there plenty enough days for us to get it designed and ordered before we need the race bibs in hand. So there are a lot of valuable relationships in there that, Josh, to your point, can just serve as templates that you just know kind of these are standard in either my business or our industry that we need to do. But the cool thing is that you can modify them once you duplicate that template. So we duplicate the template and we decide, actually for this race, it's triple the amount of bibs. We want to give our printer an extra month to get them done. Let's adjust that date in that specific race. You can do that as well. So some of mine have kind of those fixed relationships. Others I just leave very open. And then I think the point about the marketing thing too, that feels like that's like a whole nother world that you just went over, Maria, and I'm so glad. But I know we could all use that too, like the kicking around of what gets sent out when. This is kind of the same mindset, just in a project to-do list.
Cool. Okay, Josh, hope that helped. Twan, so thank you for being out there too. Hope you're doing good. I have a question. Is this tool, Monday, mobile friendly? So could people manage everything on a phone using Monday?
Yep. There's an app for that. So I don't utilize it personally. I am more focused and streamlined on my computer, but there is an app, and I know that a lot of people really do enjoy that. I would imagine members of my team might enjoy the app more than me, but that could just be a generational thing. But it is certainly there. I do use it if I'm in meetings. Same with Google Drive, and I need to be mobile, so everything is at your fingertips.
Okay, good. Twan, thank you for that question too. And this is a question from Adam Fierst. And Adam, I hope you're doing well too. And life in Denver is good. Why wait until only 90 days prior for permits? Isn't that risky, or are you confident you'll get them at the place and date you want, and that's just the deadline? Or is that just your experience, so it's not you're starting from scratch? But
yeah, Adam, that's a great point. So as I mentioned before, I have it placed a few different times in there. It's not just a one-off, just the permit is due date. That's kind of just the reminder of like, absolute everything has to be in that date, but we always submit 100 or 120 days before. For me in Colorado, and every area is different. 90 days is the deadline. However, when you submit it, you have to have literally everything in place. You have to have your security guard contract who's going to come and man the beer garden. You have to have your contract in place if someone else is setting up your beer fencing. You have to have your signed donation contract with your beverage distributor. So there are a lot of moving parts that you have to have secured. You have to have, we have to have like food contracts done. So they want to know what food truck is coming. Well, you have to actually have a contract signed with the food truck vendor. And that's in the municipality that I deal with. Someone could be from Colorado here and you have a different experience. I've learned that every judge is different too. So I sometimes have to push it until the 90 days because sometimes it's really hard to get those small details figured out before. So a lot of times the permit will get submitted 120, 100 days before the race. But I know I have until that 90-day mark to finalize those little details. It's not uncommon to book a food truck 100 days out from your race and then all of a sudden they're out of business. So I like to use those mile markers as kind of reminders and making sure you have everything wrapped up by that 90-day mark.
Right. Wow. Food truck goes out of business. That's a little cog, a little spanner in the cog. So yeah. Okay. Interesting. Adam, thank you. Great
question, Adam.
Yeah. And of course, that's the other thing is that with changes in permitting agencies and National Forest Service and this kind of thing, then I guess timelines are going to change with some of those things too. So it'd be interesting to see what changes are introduced as a result of what's happened with the workforce. Okay. Mandy, do you? I know you've kind of mentioned before that you were thinking of if people are interested in using this tool, then is that something that you're still thinking of sharing? What's your thinking on that at this time?
Yeah, for sure. So now that we've kind of lost the opportunity to do our own software at the moment. What I'm really more offering now is coaching to help you build out your race template. I'm happy to share with others what I've built out as a good jumping off point, but in kind of my one-on-one coaching, I'm happy to offer time to sit down with you and help you go through your process. And really what I would do is extract from your brain, especially if you've just done a couple races, right? And you've gone through it once or twice and you don't even really remember what you had to do when you did it, what worked well, what didn't work well. So I'm offering that one-on-one piece to sit down with someone, go through all of that. What does your process need to look like? It's going to have many of the components I have, but you might have some things that I'm not thinking about. You might not need all of this. But I am offering coaching services to help you build yours out, whether you want to build it out in your own Monday.com subscription or a different software or in a Google spreadsheet. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, Terry.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah. And Maria, so if somebody is interested in connecting with you and hearing more about what Spark can do, then I was thinking I'm recording this session and we'll send out the recording of the session tomorrow to everybody that has also been on the session live today, but also those people that weren't able to be live today. Am I okay to include your email address, and Mandy, if I include yours as well, then people can connect with you if they're interested in getting more information. Maria, is that okay?
Absolutely, yes. Happy to chat. And every race is different, and marketing I know can be very overwhelming and a lot of things to plan. So always happy to have these conversations.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. So, folks, we're finishing a little bit early, which is like doesn't usually happen. I usually struggle to get things finished by the hour. So thank you to Maria, to Mandy. Really appreciate you sharing your time, making this time available for us. And oh yes, Mary, thank you. So we also have a special offer for USTRC attendees, and that will go out in the email as well. So I'll make sure to include that too. Thank you for that reminder. To everybody out there, thank you for all of you online. And we've got one more one more webinar in this year's series to run before the conference. And so for those of you that need a reminder, then the conference is October the 15th to the 17th. And so next month is, I think, September the 16th, and we're going to be talking about communication tools within race management themselves, and so some different ideas, and again, technology that's available. Okay, Kim, thank you so much. Maria, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys being here. And Kim, thank you. It's been a really good session. I hope that many of you out there are picking up some ideas, and that's the really idea. The idea behind the webinars is to spark. Using the word. I'm sorry about that. It just came to me. Is to spark the use of technology, doing things differently, thinking outside the box, whatever you want to call it. So thank you for providing Spark the opportunity for that, and Mandy, so appreciate your time too, and look forward to seeing you both at the conference. For those of you that have registered for the whole series, then we'll look forward to seeing you for the next one in September. And Chris, I'll look forward to hearing from you soon. It was great to get your email the other day. And take care, everybody. It's Mandy, yes.
I didn't want to interrupt, but since you have a couple minutes left, do you mind if I do like a 1 minute, 2 minute plug for Endurance HQ?
Oh, please, yeah.
On technology, please. So if everyone hasn't hopped off yet, but Christian has helped me with Endurance HQ, the app for my last 2 races, and then our other race coming up in a couple of weeks, and they build the app for the conference. Yep. So that's obviously how I heard of it. But you guys, it was a game changer. So awesome. So just talking about and thinking through passing technology and all of these resources onto our participants, it was so great. Just a highlight of it. It's really customizable. So whatever buttons you need to go wherever you need them to go. So quick highlight, it's the race that we used it for was a 200-mile race. And then we had a 100-miler this past weekend. I've got another somewhere between race in a couple weeks, but a button that links out to every single GPS location on the course. For me, it was exchanges for a relay. For you guys, it might be GPS locations for an aid station. Strava links for every single section of my route. Again, for you, it might be one Strava link. Links to the athlete handbook and guidebook, a contact us tab with all of my team's direct information, a link out to services, where should they eat, shop, drink, get gas in the area. So, I mean, just anything that you would want your athletes to know was wrapped up into this app. It was fantastic. He went onto our race website, pulled everything he could, put it into the app. So I didn't have to feed anything to him, really. He just looked at what have we put out into the world digitally that our athletes aren't going to have access to in the middle of a race. So when we're talking about getting volunteers the information they need, links to where they need to go, instructions, or spectators, or participants, we can customize any of that. So it was awesome. I highly recommend you guys talking to Christian. He's not paying me to say this. It was so.
That's funny.
It was
we
so
actually
amazing. The other thing that was probably my favorite was the tracking piece of it. So we did go with map progress trackers, GPS trackers on our athletes for the 200-mile race, and for there to be a button within the app they could click and see the progress of their teammate or other runners on the course. It just the one-stop shop of it all was awesome. So thank you, Christian, if you're on it. It's been really awesome.
Yeah, Maria, go on.
No, I was going to say, we talked to Christian recently as well, and he was explaining about the app, and we can integrate that into the systems that we use, right? Because it's just another channel, right? We were talking about audiences and channels and how do you get the information out. So we were talking with Christian, and it's great, right? You can reach so many people with it, and it's like, okay, how do we also plan out the comms that will go out through the app as well? So right. I feel like it's all little systems that are trying to get integrated, right?
Yeah, and the comms piece of it, Maria, I pre-planned out text messages that would be sent out during the race. And one athlete came up to me in the middle of Wild West and was like, how did you have time to send out a text message about what time the spaghetti dinner was happening tonight? And I'm like,
Yeah.
it was 2 weeks ago I planned it. But then in the middle of we had to pull a lightning delay, and we had runners over the course of 30 miles. And I text Christian, and he sent out a text message. Either text him or we did it from our computer. I can't remember which one, but we were able to send out a lightning delay text message in the middle of the race while we're trying to get in touch with everyone else. Or things that you're, in the middle of a race and you realize, oops, I didn't tell them this, or gosh, there's a road closure all of a sudden, or a tree fell down in the forest. I mean, just having the texting ability in a place that they're already tuned into, right? Because they're already using it to get coordinates or whatever. And so for some of you, it might not be even your spectators using it. It might, or your athletes using it might be spectators. So talk to Christian about that. All I know is it was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, you will never guess who is going to be on the next webinar. Christian Saucedo from Endurance HQ. So
I'm excited for that.
So that was a really nice segue, and I'll pay you, Mandy. So we'll work it out.
I'm just grateful for all of these connections. I mean, without the conference last year, I would have never sought out an app by myself for that. It feels intimidating, or you don't even know what to expect. So it's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm very thankful that as you said, they built the conference app last year. They're doing building the conference app for this year as well. So it's just an amazing resource. And as you said, Mandy, it's a game changer. Other apps are available, but the great thing is that Christian is he is building apps for this business. And so you don't have to work around other bits and pieces that people want you to use for something else. And so, it very, very much custom fit. So, Jonathan, is the conference app available yet? Not quite yet. It'll be sometime next month, Jonathan. So we'll actually probably announcing that all being well, we'll announce that during the next webinar.
And I will say, Terry, I know that when I was talking to Christian, and just because the next webinar isn't for a month, so if someone just got really excited about using his app, I know when I was first talking to him, he allowed me access to see a few other race directors' apps, because it's not open to the general public. You have to be kind of invited to be a part of it. So if anyone out there is interested, feel free to let Christian know that you'd like to see what he did for me for my last few races. If you were wanting to check him out, I know that he was offering that as a way for you to see what was pre-built.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Brilliant, guys. Well, that filled up a chunk of time very nicely. So now we're just about on time. And so, Maria, Mandy, thank you again. Really appreciate your time, and thank you for your input and expertise. And we look forward to seeing you both and a whole bunch of people that were on today at the conference as well. So thank you, everybody. Take care. Our love to you all, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to end the stream, but Mandy and Maria, if you hang on in the studio, then I just want to say goodbye to you personally. Hold on.